day to you. Welcome back to the Before I Go podcast. It's a platform or a podcast or a video or a space to share stuff that matters to us in the hope that we can fan a little flame in other people that lets them go out in the world and operate with the freedom that love is. I want to have a bit of a chat about a topic that I think is going to be very hard for many of you to hold. So it's going to be a short one today, but I'd like to talk about innocence, and this comes from a place where as kids and adults, usually we find ourselves in circumstances where we are at the receiving end of what appears to be cruelty. When I was a little kid in grade 1 or 2, I hadn't really suffered any gross violence or aggression toward me. And when people ask me whether I was bullied as a kid in school, my answer by and large is no. I was what I feel quite fortunate enough to not feel like I was subjected to bullying by anyone through that 12, 13 year stretch. But there was one incident where a kid in my class, or it might have been in the year ahead when I must have been 7 or 8 years of age, took me into the toilet and said to me, "Shut your eyes." And I was naive, like most kids are, and quite trusting. And as I had my eyes shut, this kid kicked me as hard as he could between my legs, and I dropped to the ground, and I don't remember too much after that. I imagine I was writhing around in agony as I'd copped a full kick to the genitals. And I remember going back in to tell the teacher as I was crying and in tears. And I don't know what happened after that. But that's probably one of the only retained memories I have of what seemed like unconscious or nonsensical bullying or violence toward me. I don't feel a lot at the moment talking about it, and that's what I want to explore briefly with you today, is this paradox of innocence. Because most of us hold on to stories of things, like I said, that have occurred to us or how people have wronged us, and sit in a space of victimhood. And I'm not saying cruel stuff doesn't happen. It does. There is a lot of cruel action in this world, and most of it comes back to unrecognized fears or shame or neglect or abuse, or just the sense that I am not loved for who I am. I just finished listening to The Body Keeps the Score, which is on a book on significant trauma and the different ways of dealing with it, mostly at a psychological level. A heavy read, but I would recommend it to every human if you can hang in there for it, because I like anything that tackles trauma with an attitude of openness and a spirit of healing. So it's called The Body Keeps the Score. If you don't read it though, one thing that I have come to understand is that, and I heard this a while ago and I get it, behind every negative outcome was a positive intention. And again, I'm just going to ask that you please gently stay open with me, because I don't know who's listening right now, but most of you are going to remember some sort of incident that has stayed with you, where you blame another human being for hurting you. But this prospect that behind every negative outcome was a positive intention. I mention this because I've said it to some people. Let's take some of the worst crimes or actions we could think about. So, mass shootings in American schools, where a gunman will come in and kill innocent kids, 30, 40 kids. I understand that's a crazy thing to ask, which is, how could you possibly think that behind that outcome was a positive intention? And it's in that phrase, how could you possibly think that? If we continue to operate in the smallness of our individual thoughts and realities and beliefs being true, we hurt other people. I don't know what was going through the mind of the person that held that gun and fired it, but at some level it made sense to them to do it. At some level, whether it was a narrative that in order for them to be happy and okay, or in order for them to offload their pain, they had to inflict it on other people. Like, this is horrific stuff, I get it. But something in them, a story and a thought, made sense for them to be able to have a more positive sense of being in their life, which resulted in harming other people. That is insane. Because a lot of human beings can go, why would you do that? But if we can step inside the solitary, lonely mind of the people that are convicted that what they believe is true, we can start to understand that the actions aren't necessarily personal. It would definitely feel personal if it was my son or daughter that was taken in that act of inhumane terror. I will take it personally. But that's because I cannot reconcile how they see the world and how I see it. If we are blessed enough to take it up a level and work toward our shared humanity, to reach out and connect with people, that's when things change. Right? Behind every negative outcome was a positive intention. That's why the best of intentions, if they're founded on singularity and this idea that how you see the world is accurate and true, positive intentions don't necessarily manifest in positive outcomes, if we can even judge them that way. It's only until we start to realize that we aren't separate from other people that we're really going to have a sense that we don't want to harm each other. I mentioned it in one of the first episodes. Why would I want to hurt you if you and I breathe the same air and if we're not separate? One of the central themes of The Body Keeps the Score that isn't explicitly said like this, but is intimated in the outcomes that this gentleman found over the course of his career, I'm convinced is this: that if a small child can somehow be shown unconditional protective love by an adult or significant other in their life, that will be enough for them to be able to come back and experience that later on in life as an adult, and hopefully free them from damaging behaviour. So much suffering occurs at the hands of a power imbalance for adults who harm young children. And they're doing it because they were likely harmed as young children themselves. It's only when we can make the change to accept our shared humanity and connection, and love one another, that we're going to start to break the cycle of loneliness and separation and the illusion of one's view reflecting the way the world actually is. Love someone. Go and show a child unconditional love, and know that that small seed that you plant in that moment in their life could save the lives of thousands or millions later on. The reason why there's this innocence in everyone behind some of the cruelest acts, it doesn't excuse it, but our thoughts just shape our reality in a way that really does create harmful outcomes. It's so true. What you are putting into your mind and your heart, or what you are consistently creating, is what you are going to see and then create in the world. Make a conscious choice to turn towards kindness and compassion. It's already in you. I was told this, that we all operate according to the level of our understanding, right? You wouldn't look at a 1 or a 2-year-old child and hurt them for not knowing any better when it comes to how to walk from one point to the other. You know, we get it as adults. We look at kids and we go, they didn't know any better, right? Sometimes adults hurt kids because they think they should know better. But the really little kids, the innocence of them, they do stuff that can hurt themselves or other people because they don't know any better. And I'm here to tell you that that flows through into adulthood. This idea that adults should know better, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we take actions on beliefs that we have that hurt ourselves and other human beings because we don't know any better. All right? This can flow into so many things. It's why we're scared. You know, this offer that we are scared of what we don't understand. It's because we look at surface level differences of ethnicity and race and sexuality and skin color and belief systems, and we look at what we don't understand and somehow we take it as threatening what we think is our unique little truth of the world. We are scared of what we don't understand, and our fear keeps us from wanting to break past those boundaries and open up the gates of connection with others. It's actually really lazy to just think that the way that we see the world is it. You're kidding me? Somehow each of us was born into the perfect understanding of how humans and God and life and love works. That was it. We were lucky enough. I mean, woo, those odds are crazy, right? So we all operate according to the level of our understanding. What you will find is that if you are lucky enough to have ever been in the presence, and you'll know it because it is presence that you're in, not words or gestures or actions, pure, you'll feel it. If you've ever been in the presence of another human being that has a really grounded understanding, a generosity in spirit of accepting you for how you are, they won't tell you what to do. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to look down upon you because they understand, right? They get it. They've walked a similar path and they have found that there is no point in judging you. Find people like that in your life that accept you for who you are because they understand why you make the choices you make, why you see the world the way you see it, and they love you for it. They get it. You'll never have anybody who is truly humble look down upon you. You'll never have someone wise ever tell you that you aren't enough. They understand. So everyone does the best that they can based on how they see the world and their level of understanding. And I pause when I say level of understanding because I don't want to leave you with a sense like there's some sort of hierarchy to be followed. It's just different types of understanding. But everyone's doing the best they can based on what they know and how they see the world. And sometimes that hurts other people. And if you're lucky enough not to be in that place, keep loving others. Right? Keep giving away the goodness that you are so fortunate to have been awakened to in yourself. There's no end to the understanding. There's no level to reach. It's actually the great mystery of it all. I just know so little. Thank God for that. Thank God. It's a absolute pleasure to open a gate every day and walk through it and find I'm in a slightly larger field than I was yesterday. There's no end to it. I'll finish this off just with an encouragement to stay open to the prospect that inherently human beings are innocent underneath the illusion of their thoughts and beliefs. I feel like when Jesus was going through the crucifixion, that when he cried out, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," I don't get the sense that he was looking down upon them. I don't get the sense that he was even judging them. I just get the sense that Jesus had an understanding of how human beings work. And in doing that, there was an absolute acceptance and aura of grace and forgiveness. I'm not going to hold anything against you if I understand who you are and why you took the course of actions you took. That's forgiveness. I would just encourage you to hold on to that same sense for yourself. Forgive yourself. People are so hard on themselves. They look back at decisions they made or things they said or actions they took, and they stay a prisoner of their past hurts, either inflicted on them or directed towards others. Forgive yourself. You didn't know any better. Neither did I. And just keep knowing. You're doing the best you can based on what you understand. And that's all we can ask of ourselves. Be gentle. There's a remarkable innocence to this life. See you later. Thanks so much for listening and sharing this space with me. I really, really hope this has served you well, and it continues to do so for years to come. I love helping others, so if you would like to experience the power of creating together, please reach out to me. I'm here to help. And if you want to be on the podcast and leave a legacy, check out the contact details on my website, lyndenrochford.com, or you can find me on Facebook. I'd love to hear your story before I go. Wishing you so much love from the inside out. I'll see you soon.